Giant just announced the new Propel model, and it's pretty good. I think I quite like it, and it's a really important release, and I think we should talk about it. Let me just show you it very quickly. Here it is, the new Propel with all the various, it's more aero, it's faster, malarkey. These three bikes in the range, the Propel Advanced, the Advanced Pro, and the Advanced. I still think at this sort of price point, there is better stuff on the market. We're going to take a better look at this one, the Propel Advanced, and in particular, the Propel Advanced 2. I still think at £4,500, there are better bikes on the market right now for that. But this, the Propel Advanced 2 at 2,999 quid, has got my attention. Let's let's talk why this is an important release. It's because this bike is entry-level aero race bike, and it's an important bike because this is young riders who are working their way up through the categories and getting into their first road bike. And this is important because if they're racing or riding in pelotons, there's going to be crashes. You don't particularly want an expensive group set that's going to be hard to replace because they are going to break levers, they are going to smash mechs, that sort of thing. So the 105 group set is fantastic for this. But as that young racer, you want a fast, sexy looking bike, that's reliable. And as your first bike that, let's face it, parents are probably going to be helping you towards buying, that is it's expensive. I'll come on to that in a second, but I can't find much better on the market for that sort of money, and we'll go into that in a second. But that is why I think this is an important bike. Let me show you a few of the details. So here we go. First of all, don't you just think that looks so much better than the old one? I think that looks, I like it. It's a nice design signature. It's got right curves. Everything looks like it's in proportion. It looks fast. The old one looks like this, which I never ever liked. I never felt like they got the proportions right on this bike. Like this curve here looked horrible. This sharp angle here. I hated how the cables come out the sides here. I don't know if you can see that on here. It was a really messy cockpit. The seat post was terrible. The mech mounts on them were terrible as well. Anyway, whatever. No, let's not go into that. We are past that. This is the new one, and I think that looks pretty damn good. Now, a few features on here that I like are they've improved that rear hanger mount. It looks like they've reinforced that with a piece of aluminium on both sides of the frame, which is pretty good. I like the look of that in picture. I'd like to see one a bit up close. The seat post is not that massive aero thing anymore. It's still proprietary, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, looking pretty good so far. Now, the interesting thing is how they've done this cable routing, and you can just about see on this picture here how those cables route. So they use the overdrive system on Giant bikes, which is a 1.5-inch steerer tube. So you've got a bit more room to play with there. And you might remember from some of the Dolan videos that we did, if you remember, where they'd forced the cable around such a tight angle that the gears really weren't functioning that well. And that's a real problem when you're trying to do a very clean, integrated cockpit with mechanicals. Those Bowden cables, they really do need a smooth radius for the cables to run nice and friction free. And doing that is quite tricky, but it looks like Giant have got that a bit more under control. I'd like to try one first, but it looks like they've seen it's a problem. There is a better picture here. You can see they've hollowed out the bottom of the stem and given everything a whole lot more room, which is nice. It doesn't look like it's all being forced through one tiny hole at the back of the stem there. So yeah, that looks good to me. Nice clean cockpit. I like how these bottle cages are all sort of integrated and work. That looks nice. Now, before I get onto the price, first of all, you notice that Giant started selling direct to consumer, which is great. I mean, it's the future. Free delivery on most models, free returns, 28 days, 0% financing. Someone's taking this seriously. So exciting times ahead, that's for sure. Now, the geometry is pretty standard race geometry. 73-degree seat angle, head angle 73 degrees, so that's all good. The trail at 59.2 across the board here, that's all pretty standard. If you are a size extra small or small, I would really urge you to go and try the bike before you buy, because that is a little bit of a red flag that trail gets elongated, and I think that you'd be in danger of suffering that awkward toe overlap with the front wheel, which is never nice. So I would definitely go and try it before you commit to an extra small or small size. Everything else looks pretty good. The spec sheet, everything Shimano 105. There's no cheaper crank or anything like that. That is a legitimate 105 full group set, which is great. All the finishing kit are all Giant own brand. It's the wheels that really let it down, but we could have seen that coming a mile off. Because they're quite deep section and quite wide actually at 22 millimeters, they're going to be really, really heavy. But it is nice that they are at least aluminium. And I think, like I said, for young racers out on the track, this is fine. It's excellent. Those hubs are a real letdown. So there's definitely a wheel upgrade in the future, potentially. The biggest thing is probably those tyres. Giant Gavi, of course, they're terrible tyres. They really don't grip. They're pain to fit, tubeless. The sidewalls are quite weak. They're really not great tyres. But for that sort of money, which we'll get onto in a second, it is what it is. Interestingly, it also comes with the Garmin and Wahoo and mounts, water bottle cage like we talked about, and a factory tubeless setup, which is, that's nice. So it got me thinking though, this year's model is 2,900. Like we said, last year's model was 2,699, which is about an 11% increase in price. Nothing on it has really changed. It's probably still about the same amount of carbon. The 105 group set is exactly the same. So yeah, that's a big price jump. But this is what I want to talk about really, because could we do better for the price? And I thought we would, because here is a 105 group set, around £449. These are all over the internet around that sort of price at the moment. It's all around 45 to 50% off. There's a real fire sale going on with some Shimano stuff at the moment. So I thought, maybe we will be able to do something better. But I didn't have that much luck finding frames, which is interesting, because I thought we'd be able to find some frames going for fairly good money, but I really didn't get very far. So let me show you a couple of examples to show you. So first off, I found this Hanseling bikes. They are renowned for just making pretty much frame onlys. We've got some history with Hanseling. They've done some nice stuff. We've made some videos about them. They've got a whole range of colours and sizes, so don't worry about this one only being in stock, but 1,900 quid. So not that cheap really. I couldn't find anything much cheaper than this. I went to Ribble. Ribble do a similar sort of thing to that Propel Advanced. Again, 1,899. There's something to be a theme going on here. Even Windspace, I didn't get very far with that either. This is 1,580, a bit cheaper, so 1,200 and something pounds. Apparently very, very good. I've never actually seen one in the flesh, but depending on your appetite for risk and saving money, this might be a pretty good option. It would probably leave some room for some better wheels, but and then I just went to Sigma Sports, typed in the old price, the new price into the filter to see what would I get for my money in the sale. The Rondo Hurt, only available in a medium right now, but that's sales for you, actually came up top. And I have to say, this is one of my favourite bikes. I really do like the Rondo Hurt. It rides so fantastically well. It's super versatile. Yeah, I love it. I've come close to buying one of those several occasions before I've just committed to my look. So that's pretty tasty. Cannondale Super 6, the old one, the new one coming out pretty soon. That is, cheaper. And then everything else was endurance bikes or aluminium or whatever. So it looks like, that was nice, but they've only got it in a certain size. It looks like that is a pretty tasty offer. So that's where I am with the Giant Propel. I think important bike. It's a fantastic looking bike with some solid kit on there. good upgrade potential at a price which, although high, is probably close to about the best you're going to get, especially, again, if you are a young and you're racing and you wouldn't want to walk into your bike shop and get the support and you're not willing to take the risk on things like wind space. Interesting. What do you think? I'm keen to know, as always. Do you think it looks better or worse? As always, get down in those comments and be a part of the discussion. We always learn so much more from what you guys say than what I spout out. A quick update on the channel. We've been doing some pretty cool stuff. We've got some really interesting videos coming, which I think you're going to like. Some of our attention's been on the gym side because it is winter after all, and here we do a lot of indoor training. So we've been putting out content over on the Strength to Speed channel. I'll put a link down below. Hopefully that's going to be pretty interesting. We've just taken delivery of a titanium frame that has been custom made for someone that is 7 foot tall. I can't wait to show you that. We've been waiting ages for that project to get started. And we've got some hand-built custom wheels that are under £1,000, which we've been working on. Again, I think a project you guys are going to be really interested in. And also, we're a good customer of ours has just come back from wind tunnel testing in Silverstone, and we now have an interesting project between a bike that he had done with a physiotherapist that's all very biomechanically correct, the bike fit he had done with the wind tunnel, and our job was to try and match those to the reality of the right components being safe and getting all the right positions somewhere in between the two, in a position that he can ride fast for a long time and be as close to his optimum aero position as possible. So challenging little project. I hope we're going to film as much of that as we can, and if that's something you're interested in, let us know and we'll try and film as much of that as we possibly can. All right, until the next time, everyone, take it easy, have a great weekend.